I almost forgot to start the recording for the YouTube archive, of course. That would have been fucking tragic. Alright, but hello everyone. Hi. How's it going? What's good? Welcome to the fucking release party, the release stream for this new fucking EP that you're staring at. Beautiful cover art for. Yeah. If you don't know me, my name is ER/C. You can just call me Eric, I guess. I make music. I make music and I like making it, and this is a new one that I made. I didn't have an intro prepared, you can tell. So what I want to do for this is do a little like commentary version of the album / release party thing where we all just kind of hang out and vibe. I was actually going to do this like independently for myself as like a separate upload on YouTube or Bandcamp maybe. But then I was like, let's stream it instead. I'll just dump the archive on YouTube. And I don't think anyone wants to like actually have a fucking commentary version on anywhere else besides YouTube, but so fuck it, whatever. Alright, so basically I'm gonna like talk a little bit about each track beforehand, give a little backstory, a little trivia on it, what it's about, what I was thinking at the time. And then I'm just gonna press play and listen to the track, and we're gonna listen to it. Have a great old time. If I pause to drink, it's because I'm drinking alcohol, which, as you will see, is a core theme of this album. Alright, so to start off this whole thing, I usually make music under the name of Kringelorde. I usually make crossover thrash, but I have a wide interest in music, and I like making a lot of types of music. So it only kind of seemed fitting to, when I started putting together a couple of tracks, to kind of throw these things together under a new banner, and that's what that's what Eric is, ER/C. It's basically a side project that I'm going to do whatever I want with. Like, if you've been following me for any length of time, then you probably know that I released kind of a janky album a long time ago called Toy Box, which had, had a eclectic sound, let's say. And I didn't really want to like make something like that again. But with something like Eric, I'm like, oh, you know what? I have a lot of different musical ideas. Let me toss them all into something a little bit more cohesive. So this will be the project where, I don't know, you'll get a single, you'll get an EP, you'll get something that doesn't sound like crossover thrash, I guess. And this one here right here is a kind of like punk rock album. I say that because it started out more of like a grunge album. I wanted to make something a little bit more emotionally mature, and I think I did a good job. But yeah, the original focus was going to be something more grungy, more alt-rocky. I'm a big fan of bands like Smashing Pumpkins, Guided by Voices, a lot of those like 90s sadcore bands. I call them sadcore, but you know what I mean. Emotional, resonant. But it turned out to be a bit more of a punk rock, pop punk sort of deal. The reason for that is I also really like pop punk, and I also just had more fun making songs like that. I would say like the most influential bands that led me to this point were probably NoFX, Bad Religion, Off With Their Heads. Off With Their Heads specifically is like, I was kind of shocked after taking a break from them for a while. I was listening to them the other day, that they actually probably influenced this album more than anybody, considering that their particular brand of punk rock is so, it's really straightforward, but lyrically it always really like stuck with me. I'm not usually the kind of person that pays attention to lyrics, but Off With Their Heads specifically cuts me deep sometimes, and I think that's kind of who I was channeling the most throughout this whole thing. I have here in my notes, I also thought it would be a lot more fun to make the bass stick out a lot more. So you'll probably notice that throughout the entire album. The mids are cranked pretty high on that bass, and I thought it would be more fun to make something kind of wacky. It reminds me of Gwar. Violence Has Arrived, I'm specifically thinking of, where the bass is just fucking out in front of the mix. Whoop. I talk a lot with my hands, and I just almost hit my fucking lamp. Never heard me talk about them before? Yeah, I don't really talk about them a lot. It's strange. But, like, every time I come back to them, I'm like, damn, Off With Their Heads fucking owns. Home is a really good album. So is From the Bottom. Good shit. What else is in my notes as I squint at my own handwriting? Except it's a text file, so what the fuck? Oh yeah, I was gonna re-record a track from Toy Box, and that was kind of like the impetus of like, oh, all the tracks are gonna sound like this. Oh, excuse me, I'm disgusting. And I thought, as I was re-recording that, as I was rewriting it, I thought that was a bad idea. It really did not come together the way I was hoping for it, and in my usual style, I said, "Fuck it, throw it out the window. Let's deal with something else." Uh, yeah, so that's kind of where this project came from and how it ended up. And lastly, before we move on from like the broad strokes of the album, cover art is by my good friend Phantom Head. He's been my best friend for fucking ever, and he's the dude who makes makes the things that I make have a little bit more class, just a hinge more. Because if I didn't have good cover art, holy shit, I'd be more of a hack than I already am. Thanks, bro. All right, let's move on to the first track. First track of the album is called "Off My Chest." This was the second or third song to go in production. I can't remember where. Originally, I was going to use it as the intro for another song. I think it was for Hammered Smashed at some point, way back in pre-production. I thought it didn't really fit whatever song it was going for, or whatever mood it was going for, so I kind of ditched it instead. And I ripped it out, but I really liked it, so I thought, oh, let's keep it and let's use it as the intro for however many tracks we end up with. I also used some slap bass in this, which was kind of hard. Did you know that playing slap bass and then immediately getting back in line with the music is pretty hard? It's pretty hard. I tried really hard to make it stand out in the mix. Oh, I should probably have mentioned all this from the beginning. I play every single instrument on this album, and I also mix and master everything. So, if something sounds wrong, please blame me. But that was my effort in trying to make the bass stand out. All right, I have a little something I might want to point out after the song is over, but we'll let the song speak for itself. This is the first track. It is called "Off My Chest." Here we go. All right, how was that? Hope you didn't fucking take off. Quickly gonna answer a question in the chat. Do you use digital composition or real instruments? I use a combination. I play guitar and bass, and I use amp sims to get the effects going. But those are analog instruments. Drums are digital. I do not have a drum kit right now that I can actually play and perform with. So, maybe someday. I'd love to learn how to play the drums. Like, I actually have like a digital drum kit back in my room that doesn't really do anything, but I just use it to practice with. Drums are a lot of fun, and I'd love to actually play drums someday. If I could be a one-man band, that would be amazing. Because working with people is, I guess, not a strong suit of mine. Okay. The one thing I wanted to mention before we move on, Off My Chest, there's, right at the beginning, after the initial big crash-in, when the you play the chord, there's like a little roll of the snare drum. That was actually there to help me keep track of the timing. Because I'm a self-taught musician, and I'm not always the best at understanding like music theory and timing and playing in time. So that was initially kind of just a reference point for me to be like, after this little roll, stop here, move on to the next part, etc., etc. But I actually liked it so much, I thought it really kept the momentum of the song going, that I just kind of kept it in, like, It's really just a counter, but I like it. It's a little snappy roll on the drums. Okay. I'm already exhausted. Part of it's probably the booze. My tolerance is super low. I'm only having like half a Guinness. Next on the album is the song F Me. Fun fact, this song was supposed to be called, full title, Fuck Me Before You Get to Know Me. Because I was explicitly going for like post-hardcore grunge song titles. Really just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just like angsty, in your face song title. And the code name ended up being F Me. But I honestly kind of thought that just worked better. So I ended up keeping it. I actually like that a lot more. This was the first song that was going into production for this. I started writing it around the time that I finished the Twilight Zone re-release. And it was kind of the impetus, along with re-recording a song from Toy Box, for this entire project. The original title, comes from the cringy chorus that I was writing for it at the time. But I ended up dropping that because I'm not a lyricist. I'm sure there's a text document on my phone that's filled with awful, 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 awful lyrics that did not see the light of day, which is great. The beginning solo is completely improvised, which, if I could just say one thing, I really like using improv in music. I'm a big fan of Keiji Haino and like Fish and all that stuff. I really want to like use so much more improvisation in music. I think it adds like such a neat edge to sound, the sound and the structure of a song. I honestly kind of wish I went even a little harder on this, all the instrumental or improvisational pieces, I should say. But yeah, the beginning solo, the first part of the second verse, you'll see when I actually press play. There's a lot of improvisation going on, and I really want to do more of that in the future. I think that's a lot of fun. All right, this is F Me. All right, how was that? Uh, yeah, as you can probably tell from what I'd said earlier, improv. There was that whole last guitar section completely improvised. There's like 6 takes in Reaper sitting there right now that all sound completely different. Just me fucking going hard in that last piece. I think if there was one thing I was gonna do, excuse me, if there's one thing that I would have done differently, it's that I probably would have turned that entire section into like a free improv section. Like every instrument just go hard for a second. Because the idea I had in my head, and the way I write songs in general, is I kind of just go for like a feeling as opposed to everything else. And the vibe that I was going for in that song is the idea of a relationship that starts out fine, but then as things gradually change and progress, and I guess the honeymoon period is over, as it were. Things go from bad to worse, and as you might anticipate as you might gather from the title, fuck me before you get to know me, fuck me before you figure out that I'm a failure and a fuck up, etc. It all kind of led to one thing and to another. That's probably what the lyrics were about too. I mentioned earlier. Okay, before I move on to the next one, I have a question in chat. What song was it that you wanted to re-record? It was They Warned Me Never to Wish Upon a Star. I thought that it would be a great opportunity, this album would be a great opportunity to re-record that, because I always really liked that song, but I thought I could have done it better. There was just bits and pieces that I was like, this connective bit, this solo could have stuck out more, stuff like that. But yeah, I started re-recording it, and then I just kind of went, this is trash, I need to move on. Okay. He said, grabbing his water instead of his beer. God, I'm a fuck up. Alright. Next song is called You Simply Cannot Go Home Again. This is the 3rd song in production, I think. I'm not sure. It's either this one or the last one. Last one was probably being finished. Anyway. This is a bit more of a straightforward pop-punk song. Punk rock. Especially the first half. I can't really remember what exactly the vibe I was going for was. It kind of came together once the entire thing was together, or once the entire thing was done being written. This was a song that was written during the pandemic, where I finally kind of like clicked with shoegaze, and I understood shoegaze music, so I kind of wanted to try something like that. And so the second half of this song is very shoegazy, I think. It remains to be seen whether or not people agree with me and people actually like that, but the title comes from the Rod Serling clip that comes at the end of this. This particular clip comes from an interview he did that I saw ages ago, and he talks about using time travel as a narrative device, and specifically the idea that things can never go back to the way they were. And the title that my title that he says, the phrase "you simply cannot go home again" was always very powerful to me, because he specifically references a point where he came back from being was he a paratrooper? He was a paratrooper in World War II. And he describes coming home and not really feeling the same way because he can't really go back to the same context of who he was at the time. And that always really stuck with me, because the older I get, the more I realize, like, I do get nostalgic for certain periods in my life. And I do wish I could go back to those days. But you can't. And that's kind of the entire tone of the song. It's kind of like a happy, bright, upbeat beginning, and then there's like a sudden mood shift. And then things change and slow down, and then the instruments fade out, and things fade away. Yeah, hard vibes. Like I said, it didn't really come together until the end, I think, when all of it was standing big picture right in front of me, where this whole thing kind of made sense. I honestly think this might be one of my favorite songs to play. It's really good. The last one has its moments, but I get a kick out of just jamming to this whenever I'm alone. All right. This is You Simply Cannot Go Home Again.
I'm the kind of a guy who is now in that aging late 30, early 40 bracket in which suddenly there is a tremendous bittersweet, poignant feeling about wanting to go back to another time. In my case, it would be the pre-war, early teens time, which were particularly happy for me. And on occasion, I will go back to my old hometown and walk through the streets and the places that I grew up in and feel a sense of, great loss that I wish I could recapture it. And I think the answer is, much as Wolf said, you simply cannot go home again. It's quite impossible.
All right. Wasn't that great? Didn't that just give you the hard feelies? The willies? The whatever. I see someone commented in the chat, I really do love how much more prominent the bass is in the mix. Thank you, I do too. I'm not sure if it'll stick around though, just because having a little bit more subdued bass does I feel like makes the tone a little bit thicker and a little bit meaner sometimes. It depends. Depends on how in your face it is, I guess. But for something like this, maybe more punky, I think this might be the sound that I'll stick with. I like it. Alright, now let's move on to the big one. I shouldn't say full. Almost a full 11 minutes this song is. Holy shit, I can't believe I fucking made something like this, man. Where the fuck do I even start? Well, this was the last song finished, but it was the third in production, maybe? I was going through a lot when I made this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The original idea for the song was it was going to be more of a traditional punk song, and it was going to be broken up by these like improvisational, like janky guitar notes, maybe clean sounding, maybe even acoustic, and a bunch of spoken word passages of me just kind of talking about nothing. Because when I drink, and I mean when I drink heavily, I have a tendency to talk too much. I'm a bit of an introvert, and alcohol tends to make me a bit more of an extrovert. So I thought it would be fun to be like, oh yeah, let's make a silly song about getting super wasted, because that would be a vibe, that would be a mood. And then what changed? Well, a couple things. Probably the biggest is the musical inspiration. Around the time I was writing this, it was like right probably when the pandemic first hit. I started really getting into Godspeed You Black Emperor and the big epic post-rock of like Boris, specifically Flood and Feedbacker. And I got a little ambitious and I said, I want to make something bigger, something bolder, something a little bit meaner. And I still felt like the general idea of like drunken spoken word passage made a lot of sense. So how could I turn that into something that would fit this tone? And the answer came in the form of, after probably too much alcohol, another drunken bad habit that I have, which is bothering my friends when I'm drinking and not always hearing an answer. This song is about being inside your own head when you drink and putting that on to other people. You know what I mean? It's about a lot of things. It's about alcohol. It's about my experience with alcohol, and well, I have had a lot of very, very pleasant experiences with alcohol and with my friends with alcohol. They're not always happy times, and I think I don't know what I think anymore. I'm getting a little wasted. As for the ending, whew, that ending just kind of came out of me one day, man. I don't really know. I don't even really know what the fuck to say about it. I was looking for a perfect way to end this, and then that just sort of happened to me one day while I was jamming, and I was like, I think it was in the middle of the summer, and my AC is right next to my guitar, my amp. I pulled out my headphones, slapped down my phone to record something, and was like screaming over my own AC, my loud ass AC. Fucking remember this, holy shit, fuck. And then here we are. That's that fucking thing that just fell out of me one day. Alright, this is the big one, folks. Hammered, smashed, shit-faced. Let's go.
1 unheard message. First unheard message sent yesterday at 7:15 p.m.
Yo, dude, what up? Holy shit. Yo, what's going on, man? So you're not there, but that's okay. Everyone's busy nowadays. But yo, I was having a few beers, or like 10 or whatever, and I was like, yo, I should give you a call, cause yeah, exactly. No one's around a whole lot anymore, but I guess I'm just making my own fun now, maybe I'll play guitar and stuff, cause like that's always fun. I don't usually when I drink, cause like I sound bad, like more than normal, but that's what are you gonna do? Fuck, hold on, another beer, hold on. Oh fuck, okay. Yeah, so how you doing and stuff? Yeah, shit, I go off a lot when I drink, so I'm sorry. I should probably like ask more and stuff. That's how you like actually interact with people, I think. Not just like not do that and then like when it's too late you can't. But whatever. Everything's cool here, I guess. Whatever. It'd be nice to have some more people to like drink with and stuff. That'd be cool. Every now and then,
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. Message deleted. Next message.
I guess I gotta start making friends someday, but that shit's fucking hard, dude. Like I'm fucking awkward, man. You know me. Like I don't know what to say to people. Like I just sit there and it's like, what do I say? Like, hey, I have weird opinions on stuff and weird interests that only appeal to me. You wanna hang out? It's like, yeah. People don't like me. And then there's talking to the people that I do know, right? Like occasionally I'll talk to my friends that I know and I'm friends with, and we don't say anything to each other, and it's like, what the fuck do I say to this person that means so much to me? Do I just fucking gush about how I like would take a bullet for them? Like I want to, but I don't. So am I a moron? It's fucking hard to keep your friends, dude. Ah, fuck. Anyway, I was just calling to,
I don't remember what I was calling for. I'm drunk. I'm wasted. I guess I'm just kind of talking to the air because sometimes that's the only thing that makes sense. A friend once told me that a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts, and I always thought there was a lot of truth to that. So when you get this, I don't know, call me back, say hi, meet me halfway because I clearly can't do it myself. Just don't move on, man. You can't move on. You can't just leave people behind. Like, don't leave me behind, and I won't leave you behind. All right? Meet each other halfway on this one, please. All right.
Message deleted.
And that, my friends, that's the end of View from the Valley. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm gonna just chit chat for a little bit as I sit and hang out and just kind of take it all in. It's weird listening to this thing from back to front. I've listened to it so many times. Like, I made the damn thing. I've listened to this thing a million times over. But like listening to this whole thing, I feel so complete. Like it's not just the satisfaction of like finishing a project. It's the satisfaction of like finishing a project and really feeling like I put a chunk of me into it. Like, not that I ever like half-assed any song that I ever made, but I feel like this might be the first thing that I've made that's really like personal. It's really just a part of me. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of how it came out, even though it's not perfect. Far from it. Let's be honest. But yeah, that's all. I guess if you want some trivia, some fun facts about Hammered Smashed, Obviously, the reference in the title. I'm pretty proud of that one, guys. Thank you. Thank me. The spoken word passage is actually like very different from what I had initially written. I struggled over what to actually write and what to actually say in that. So if you look at the text document that I had, there's like what I was supposed to say, and like a no variation and a ton of variations. Like I think the last chunk right before the final chorus and the outro, completely improvised. I went completely off script for that one. What else? I can't think of anything. Can you? It's probably the booze. Oh well. Oh yeah, let's not even talk about like the other half of the text document, where it's just like, okay, all this really bad stuff, the stuff that'll make people worry if they hear it, let's move that just a little farther down to where it's not in the song anymore. Yeah, let's like you were just venting. Okay, cool. Take that entire paragraph of nihilist shit and just whoop, put it down there. It's okay. This is a growing process. Getting things out there and saying certain things. It's part of me growing as a person. I'm not a very emotionally open person all the time, and maybe this is the start of me being a little bit more emotionally open about things. There you go. Yeah. Okay. All right, what is there even left to say? I have an instrumental version of Hammered Smashed Shitfaced on SoundCloud and Bandcamp and all the other places. It's a bonus track. I'm not going to bore you guys with it. It's just another, just another song. I thought it was a nice addition. You don't have to pay for it, obviously. That's stupid. Free MP3s on SoundCloud, always. Always free on SoundCloud. I try to make high quality MP3s, so hopefully they're not like shitty and compressed. And of course, if you want more formats, go check out Bandcamp. Bandcamp is awesome. I love Bandcamp. Bandcamp's great. The YouTube upload is there. The YouTube stuff is uploaded in FLAC. Always try to get the high quality shit on YouTube. What you've been hearing today, I hope I've been doing the fucking OBS settings right. I checked all that out yesterday. All that stuff you've been listening is in FLAC, so hopefully you heard like the highest highest qualities. And yeah, I want to put all this stuff on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music and stuff later, but that's going to come much later once I figure that shit out. Otherwise, hey, I hope you've had a good time. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I am just about to finish my brew, so that is perfect fucking timing. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Be chill. Be excellent to each other.